Hi everyone, I'm Sarah at Childhood Finds if you've never joined me here before, and I've been a little slow on getting my videos out regularly, so I'm trying to improve that life balance with my reselling. But this one is going to be another fun video, I think, that, well, at least I enjoy it. It's going to be a continuation. I believe it's part 3. And it's books that are valuable that your favorite movies and TV shows are based on. I have a fair amount of different ones to show you and talk about. One disclaimer, I did not completely fact check that these are all first editions, first printings, etc. I have a good feeling most of them are accurately described, but I'm not 100%, so please be aware. But I'm trying to give you, I always try to find books that have consistent sales records, so ones that you're finding frequently. I also utilize eBay for the sales on this specifically. There's other sources I could of course pull from, but for ease, I'm finding eBay. So you of course need to do your own research based on what you have for different sites, because you might get different money on different sites for these, selling them. But I utilize Terapeak on eBay, which shows you the last 2 years of solds. And I also look at the last 90 days as well. So I like Terapeak for kind of an idea of the price trends, and I like the 90 days so you really see what it's selling for recently. But sometimes that doesn't give you a big enough picture when it's an item that doesn't come to market as frequently. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. In the comments, what I would love is if, on my, like my other ones, I would love if you put if you like the movie or show or book better, if you've read and seen both, or just whichever one's your favorite. So if you're gonna obviously know what's my favorite when it comes up, you won't even need to guess. But please put those down in the comments and let's go ahead and get going. So some of these I think are going to surprise you, that the shows and movies you watch are based on a book. And this is one that surprised me. And so this is MASH by Richard Hooker, and this is the basis for MASH. So MASH was a movie, I think, in 1970, and then it became a series, and it ran from, I think, 1972 to 83. I remember my mom really liked this show, and I remember watching reruns with her. So it is a good show. I haven't read or listened to the book, but it does have some good value. It hasn't come to market a ton, but there has been some in the last couple years. There's one that's gone as high as $550 and one as low as $200. And this one that sold for $335, I was going to show you that one. It was in good condition, but I waited too long and the 90 days has passed, so I wasn't able to pull it up to show you. But it did get positive feedback from the buyer. Book was in great condition, and that one sold for $335. So I'm going to show you this other one that sold in the last 3 months. And this one is not in great condition, but it did still sell for a best offer of $200 plus free shipping. And you can see there are condition issues with it, but that, as I've said in many other videos before, it doesn't need to be perfect to sell. You just need to be upfront that it's not perfect. And so that one is a good one to look out for. This is going to be one that doesn't hold a ton of value, but I think it's something you could find, because people that read series, they get all of them and then they get rid of them because they take up a lot of space. So I'll be looking for this one, and this is Roswell High complete series, and the show was called Roswell, and it was 1999 to 2002, something like that, I think. And it was it's an alien human hybrids kind of basis, and it was a young adult book, so something easy to read. And the ones that are selling here are the series seems to be 1 through 10, and then there seems to be some extra books as well. The prices can vary some. We have one here that sold in August that sold for $125, and that was a lot of 14 books, the 1 to 10 of the series plus 4. Then we have this one that sold recently that was 1 to 10 that only sold for $35. So maybe they could have got more for it, because we have others for 161 and 88. So this one can definitely vary. I believe I looked up what was actually active right now, and the lowest active right now is 70 plus free shipping, something like that. So there's still some value in it. Not huge value, but I wanted to share it because it would be worth it for me. The paperbacks are super easy to pack, and I'd much rather pack this than some other stuff. So let's look at it up close. There's the books, and sold for the 65 bucks plus shipping. Next, this might be blasphemous, but I have not read or watched The Godfather, and this is The Godfather by Mario Puzo, and it was written in published in 1969, and I think the movie came out in 72. So this one definitely has some good value. There are some that are ranging up here towards the 1,000. I don't know about this outlier at 2,500, but definitely we have, this one's different, so don't look at that one. Let's mostly look at the 800s. So I think this book you could realistically get 500 to 800 for, depending on condition, maybe less if it's in really bad. But I'm gonna show you one that sold for $700, and it's The Godfather, first edition, first printing, Mario Puzo, 1969. Let's see if we can look at the copyright. I'll try to show you the copyrights. Again, I can't confirm that they're first. I haven't done that for far of a research on this, but I'm not seeing the copyright. I might have just blown past it. One more try. Not there, this. And I'm not seeing anything that specifically is saying first edition, etc. on it, but that doesn't mean that it isn't. So that sold for $700. Next one is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, and it was published in 1985, and it does have, I don't know if Hulu did the series, but I've seen it on Hulu. So I think I watched the first season, and it's, you know, it's a dystopian future novel or book and show, and it has 5 seasons, and there's going to be a 6th in 2024, so if you need a show to binge, you could try it. But I just haven't gotten back into it, but I might have to try the book out. This one sold for $170, but this one I think you could get some more for, so the range seemed to be from $100 to $300 for them, so definitely do some research. I think you could get a little more out of this. This one I love because Goosebumps is my childhood to a T. This is the complete series set 1 to 62 of Goosebumps. And this one did sell for $650. And I know that looks like a ton of work and books that you're seeing, but it's not really that bad once you pack it. It really isn't. They don't shatter, which is great. And just, I was seeing the complete series selling for $400 to $700 was really where I was seeing ranges. But do know you don't have to have the complete series to make good money on Goosebumps. I look for them all the time because I so regret selling mine. I regret it so bad. Tell me in the comments one of your biggest sales regrets, because if I find them again, I'm keeping them. 1,000% I'm going to keep them because I love them. And so Goosebumps has spawned quite a few things. There is an animated series for it in the 90s, and then there was the movie that came out with Jack Black. Not great, but the movie came out. But there actually is a new series that my partner and I are watching right now, and that just came out this year, and I've kind of been enjoying it. It's very nostalgic. I really am liking how they're doing it, so I do recommend you look up Goosebumps, the 2023 series. But you can also sell, there are some singles that sell well as also. I have sold some singles for 40 plus. So it is possible to sell some singles for good money as well. So do check what's in your lot too, that there's not super special ones you might be able to make more on if you part it out, if you're selling them. And I'll show you an example of one. There's another set here. This is 20 Give Yourself Goosebumps, complete original black set, 23 to 42. This came after the original 62, and it's kind of a choose your own adventure type of story. And this one sold for a best offer of $450 for 20 paperback books. That's worth it to me. I think that's great. But again, Goosebumps I'm keeping if I get them again, as I hopefully can find them again. And then show you this one. This is a Goosebumps Welcome to Dead House unnumbered second print, first edition, 1992. And this one did sell for $50. So do keep your eye out that some will sell for good money on their own also. Next, we couldn't do a video without Stephen King. This is The Stand by Stephen King, just because he's such a prolific author and he has spawned so many movies and series on his stuff. And this one was published in 1978. And then do know I'm going to show you another version of this that was kind of re-released in 1990 that doesn't hold near the value this one does. But this one, a first edition, first printing, can go for really good money. And you can see there's some ranges. We've got some in the 500s, but we also can go up pretty high here, up towards the 1,000. And remember, I do filter out all signed ones. I try to, sometimes inscribed sneaks in here. But you could definitely, 500 plus is, I would think, what you're looking for if it's in decent condition. And T39 is the gutter code. That matters if you're looking at a first, but not really relevant for this video. But let's look at one up close. Here's that one. It did sell for a best offer of $900, and it's in, looks pretty good condition. And it says it's first edition stated. So that's kind of what that means when people say that it actually says first edition on it. And yeah, that's a great price. So The Stand, there is a series in 1994, and then there's also, they did another one that on this book that was released in 2020, I believe so. I haven't watched the newest one, but I watched the oldest one with one of my really good friends. And both is good, because I've done both the book and the movie. I like both. And this is the other one I was talking about that was printed in 1990. So a first of this one this one sold for $25, which is pretty accurate to what it's worth. I've sold this one before, but if you pick it up for a couple bucks, I'd be happy to sell it for that. This is going to be my favorite. Lord of the Rings I love it with all my heart and soul. And so this one, full disclaimer, I can't confirm that these are all correct. I didn't do massive research, but most of these are going to be first editions, maybe later printings. There's American and UK editions. The UK came out first and tends to hold more value. And let's just go over kind of the order really quick, because we're going to go over each. The Hobbit came out in 1937. And then we have The Fellowship of the Ring, that was 54. Then Two Towers, 54. And then in Return of the King came out in 1955. So the three books that make up the Lord of the Rings actually was written as one book. And they had to split it up into three because it was gargantuan. So that's why you have three. And they did come after The Hobbit. But I love it. I love all things Lord of the Rings. It's definitely my favorite. But this is Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, first American edition. So I'm going to try to show you American and UK editions. And this one sold for the $181.50, which is still a great price because there's your dust jacket. It's a dust paper, essentially. Looks like it's just the front, but the book looks to be in good condition, and it also has the map. So again, just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it can't sell if it's desirable. And I don't know what printing this is, but still sold for really good money. And you just will have to do research if you find these kind of books, further research to make sure you're pricing it well. This is going to be the UK first edition. And so technically, since UK came out first, it is the first edition. And then we say first American edition because it came out second. And so this is J.R.R. Tolkien, The Fellowship of the Ring, UK first edition, 5th impression. And it did sell for $475. Let's see, I know it said 5th in here. Yeah. So it actually says it right there. And that's why they put 1956 in the title, is because that's when that impression was done. Then we have The Two Towers, and this one was a third printing, and this is a American edition, and it sold for the $750. So these are great value, guys, all of them. I didn't pull up the Cimmerillion, but that one I think holds some decent value as well. But again, if I find these, I will never let them go. I will never let them leave my grasp. So here's to hoping I find them someday. Let's see what it said, if we can find the copyright here. Okay. But $750, third printing. And then this one's the UK edition, and it's the 8th impression, and sold for $295. So again, not first, still selling for really good money. Let me just confirm these prices are correct that I'm giving you. Where did I go? There we go. Okay. Got myself lost. And then we're going to go to Return of the King. This is the first American edition, and it sold for $850. It doesn't say first, so this will be a later printing because it says 1956. Let's see. But I don't know. The American edition might have been released in 56. I'm not positive, but either way, this sold for $850. And then I couldn't really find any recents on the UK editions, but they look much like the other UK editions, so you'd be able to recognize them. And then we have The Hobbit. That is the biggest money, and it makes sense why it is. So this is The Hobbit, US First Edition, Third State, J.R.R. Tolkien, 1938. And so I couldn't even, I would want to sell this, but I couldn't. I could not physically sell this if I found it. But this one did sell for $2,800, and they do range in this and higher. So it's in the thousands that this book is worth if you find an early edition of it. And then we're going to go on to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, here's another blasphemous. I do not enjoy the movies. I've never read the books, but I don't enjoy either movie. So there's the Gene Wilder one, and then there's the Johnny Depp one of this. But that's just my preference. This book does bring some good value, though, for first editions. And we can see there's one up here in the thousands, but we have 800s. This one sold quite a few times recently. 700s, 600s. And so it just depends, your condition for it. But absolutely a valuable book. And we're going to be looking at one here that is, this one sold for, oh, did I just mess myself up? I believe this one sold for $950. Let me double check. No, $850. So this one that I'm showing you actually sold for a best offer of $850. Looks like it's in looks like it's in great condition. Let's see if there's a copyright for us. Yeah, it doesn't say first or anything on it, but either way, this sold for really good money, and this book absolutely sells for good money, so keep your eye out for the book version of this. And so I'm showing these Harry Potter ones because I think Harry Potter is one of the biggest misrepresented books on eBay. And I don't say that meanly, I just say, yes, there are some really valuable ones in the Harry Potter franchise, but most of your American editions aren't making you rich like some people think. If they're signed, different story. We're not talking about signed here. But I see so many yard sales and so many thrift stores that put these Harry Potters behind glass. So the first couple definitely hold some value, Sorcerer's Stones, etc. Those definitely, the first 3 or so do hold some value. But once you get like the 4th and on, 5th and on, they were printed in such massive runs that they don't hold very much value. And they are misrepresented so frequently on eBay as first edition, first printings. and I just wanted to share this so you can have an idea of value. But here is one that is valuable. So Harry Potter, Philosopher's Stone, that is the original title that was released in the UK in 1997. In 1998, when it was released into the US, that is when it changed to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. And so this one here is a first edition, fourth printing of that, and it did sell for, I believe, the $995 that's shown. And the range is it's very much like this for the other ones that have sold. And again, this is not a signed one. And then let's look at the American. So this one I'm showing you because it's also one that I also feel like it's deceptive too, because you can kind of trick people into thinking they're getting a first, and sometimes the name makes them think it's more valuable. I don't know. I'm just rambling here. I'm just sharing this with you. So this one sold for $100, but when I went to look, it's a 22nd printing. It should not be selling for $100. So I looked on Terapeak and that's what it said. It also said it was brand new. So I don't know. I'm just saying that just be careful with the Harry Potter books. They definitely take some more research because there's a lot of misinformation out there about their value. So just be careful with them and don't pay a ton for them if you don't know, because I've seen so many places price these guys up. But even if you don't get first editions, I know that a lot of resellers do collect the whole set and then sell it for, I think, $70-$80 for the whole set, which is great. I mean, if you're finding them for $1 or $2 at a yard sale each, then that's absolutely worth it to me. But here is, or is it this one? Is this one actually the first? No. Wait, this isn't even the one I was, oh man, I thought this one was right. I deleted the one that was actually, so this is two of them that sold for $100. Even though they weren't actually first printings, because this one, again, this is a 30th printing and it sold for $100. So this is just, I have sold this book personally for $80, and I think that's a pretty good price for this book. So I messed up here even. I thought I still had one that was actually correct and I must have gotten rid of it, but it sells for $60 to $80, I think is kind of your range. And then your second book, not as much, but just keep that in mind. The American editions don't hold a ton of value, but you can with some of them. If I find the first of the American edition again, I will do a video on it. I think I have a short video on identifying the second one, just some tips to it. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. I rambled a little bit in it, but there was quite a few different books you can look out for. Remember to put in the comments, what, if you have a favorite, and also put if you have a favorite, if you've read the book and watched the movie or show, what you prefer. Again, my favorites here are Lord of the Rings and Goosebumps. Those are my lifeblood. So I hope to see you on the next video. I'll try to get some more out more frequently than I have been. So thanks for joining me.